What's up, the squad? Back with another video. Y'all seen the title going down. Make sure y'all hit the like button, hit that subscribe button for me, please. Y'all see it right here. It says journalist Chris Rufo. I apologize if I said that wrong. Says reports that investigators are looking into Ilhan Omar over her possible involvement with Somali fraud scandal. Check it out right here, y'all. Jesse Waters.
Spent last week in Minneapolis, and there's two parallel stories. I mean, there is a panic within the Somali community. They've been found out for these massive fraud schemes, daycares, transportation, fake autism services, the whole 9 yards. But the political question is very important, and my sources in Minneapolis state government say that there are open inquiries into the potential involvement at the highest level of Minnesota politics. And so I think people will be taking a hard look not only at Governor Tim Walz, but also Congresswoman Ilhan Omar and State Attorney General Keith Ellison. We know that they have connections with convicted fraudsters. The question is, were they merely complicit in these schemes, or were they part of a broader conspiracy? We don't have strong evidence now, but I think people are starting to take a look.
Well, what we do know is that Ellison promised these guys he'd make the investigation go away, and then he got money as a donation. We know that whistleblowers alerted the Walz administration, and he didn't take any action. And we know a couple of these people, like Omar, got money from these convicted fraudsters as political donations. Are you saying that there could have been a conspiracy to move the welfare fraud money into their war chests?
It's certainly possible, and I think the person, and really I'm grateful for it, Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary, has all the tools at his disposal to actually investigate the money trail, to figure out how the money flowed between these fake nonprofits and Somali fraudsters and Minnesota politicians. And I'll tell you, the atmosphere in Minneapolis was electric. I mean, people had the sense of anticipation. Something big is coming. And look, I hope they get to the bottom of it, because we're talking about, some estimates upward of $9 billion stolen. These politicians seem to, at a minimum, have turned a blind eye to the fraud, or even directed people below them to take steps so that it wasn't uncovered. This scandal is not over, and I think it could end with significant action. And again, I think Secretary Bessent is the right man for the job.
One thing about it, Ilhan Omar, we know that she's not, going to take accountability whatsoever when it comes down to it. Says right here, the House Oversight Committee is investigating Ilhan Omar and her rapidly rising family wealth after her latest financial disclosure lists her as a net worth of $30 million. I know a lot of y'all have seen this, that her net worth, is that much, because, it definitely is pretty insane, just judging by the fact that you have, pretty sure her salary was $174,000, so definitely a huge jump, This right here says Ilhan Omar claims America is worse than Somalia, y'all. Check it out.
But Omar says ICE is making Minnesota worse than Somalia.
Those of us who escaped places like that, the one place where we thought we would never experience this is the U.S. states. I am ashamed. And we must do everything that we can to bring back the America we all escaped into.
No, if this was Somalia, warlords would be beheading mommies with machetes. Omar should be grateful America handles rioters this gently. If they catch you stealing millions of dollars in Somalia, you don't get a trial. You don't get due process. You definitely don't get a lawyer. They cut you down and they throw your body in the desert.
And as bad as that that does sound, honestly, it's one of those things, that is factual. I feel like you got these individuals that come here, especially, when it comes down to Ilhan Omar. She's always, and I truly feel like you should definitely be grateful. You should definitely be grateful, and not call out, not disrespect, the United States, because I feel like that's truly what she's doing, is disrespecting, the United States, and it's definitely sickening, that she's doing it. It's definitely sickening. You got here Ilhan Omar again, lashing out against President Trump, because he's, deporting a lot of illegals from Somalia who illegally elected her in Congress, as this says right here. Y'all can go find this at Boba Bath Girl. On X. Ilhan is losing her constituents to prosecution and deportation, and that's why she's panicking. If y'all haven't noticed, a lot of this is more so of a distraction with a lot of going on. Check it out.
Have rejected Trump as the president in all of the 3 times he's been on the ballot. And he is very angry about that. That is why he has promised to attack us, to send his goons to our cities to terrorize us, and now go after our leaders that are protecting the rights of residents in Minnesota. I know that Minnesotans are strong. We are resilient. We know that the Constitution is on our side, and the lawful actions and the intimidation that is coming from this lawless administration is not going to stop us from knowing that we have the Constitution on our side.
So, Ilhan Omar is not only on, you got the MS Now, you have these different platforms that she's doing, but she's going on literally every platform and not only disrespect the United States and President Trump, but they more so, they tell lies, they make it more of a distraction, calling out Kristi Noem. They're doing everything they can possible, to really, I would definitely say, to fire up, each and every individual, y'all. Truly.
We want them out of our state. We want this terror to stop. The lives of people are being interrupted. And it is not justifiable for the president to target our state and the residents of the beautiful state of Minnesota this way.
Definitely sickening. Definitely sickening. That she's getting on these different platforms. Literally out here, Ilhan Omar again accusing President Trump of weaponizing government resources. She then defends Waltz and Fry by saying they can do whatever they want, basically. Make sure y'all stay tuned for the next video dropping tonight. Truly, I should say, that it's truly insane to me that you have these individuals that want, to incite violence and make things worse. They're literally doing everything in their power to get people, hype, to hype people up. And it's definitely sickening and sad that they're doing this because more and more people are literally out there, getting hurt when it comes down to it from what I've been witnessing. Check it out right here.
After we spoke, we know that reporting emerged that the Department of Justice may have been investigating Mayor Fry, Governor Walz. When you see that, what's your reaction, and are you concerned that there is some sort of weaponization of government resources happening here?
There's definitely a weaponization of government resources that are happening, but it's also that retribution that the president said he was bringing to Minnesota. This is an extension of it. Now he wants to criminalize the duly elected governor and the mayor for exercising their office in the protection of their residents. They are in charge of local law enforcement, whether it is our Minneapolis police or our state troopers and the National Guard, and it is their prerogative to figure out how to utilize them in the protection of their residents. And the fact that the president thinks it is okay for him to try to charge and bring criminal charges against those that represent us is something that Minnesotans are not going to stand for, and Americans shouldn't either.
So when she's speaking like this and talking like this, y'all, this just goes to show you, the amount of disrespect that she has, not only, for, obviously, herself, but it's just the amount of disrespect she gives, out to President Trump, out to, other Minnesotans that's out there. Like, I truly feel like it's just highly disrespectful. It's truly nasty. Just the simple fact that you have this individual that's going out here, and wanting more and more violence each and every day. They're making it seem like it's okay to other individuals, and I'm not making up any type of excuse. I don't like to make up excuses, when it comes down to it. But I truly feel like, y'all, not even joking, that it's truly sickening to have them constantly, not only Ilhan Omar, but you have Tim Walz, you have Mayor Fry that's out there that's doing the exact same thing and making things 10 times worse by getting people fired up, about this. And it's truly insane, and getting people just angry, to do idiotic things. I'm telling y'all. Says this right now is why Ilhan Omar is panicking. Check it out right here, y'all.
Here in Minnesota, daycare fraud, autism center fraud, home health care fraud, transportation fraud, all this is going on here in Minnesota, and lawmakers have allowed this to happen. One of their main lawmakers, Ilhan Omar, she makes $170,000 a year being a congresswoman for this state, yet her income is over $30 million. Her husband is the owner of one of the largest venture capitalist firms here inside Minnesota. She's worth $30 million. Where is that money coming from? Well, Ilhan Omar, she is the one who passed the bill to start the Feeding Our Futures here in Minnesota. That ended up being a fraud, costing taxpayers here in Minnesota $250 million. Ilhan Omar, she's from Somalia. How can she serve both Somalia and Minnesota? A person can't serve two masters. Is Ilhan Omar part of this fraud? I don't know. How do you go from having hardly any money to 30 million? The fraud is huge in Minnesota. Does she have something to do with it? Let me know your thoughts on that one.
One thing about it, she definitely has a lot to do with it, and it's so called that she is the godmother about it all. She is the one, definitely the one. As this individual, keeping it says right here. I want to make sure. It says Booker T. Jones. I want to make sure. I'm pretty sure that's what this is, Booker T. Jones. If I said that wrong, I apologize. But it just said it right here. Minnesota neighbors say medical transport vans tied to Somali-owned companies haven't moved in months, yet the business still collects millions in taxpayer funds. So you literally have more and more things that's coming out each and every day, and y'all see how bad things are. It's truly bad and it's truly sickening. Check it out.
Here in Minnesota, there's businesses just like the one behind me. These are called non-emergency medical transportation businesses, where they have vans like this sitting out in the snow that have never even been moved. Neighbors say these vans haven't moved in months. Yet the state of Minnesota has over 1,020 companies like this, and 90% of them are Somalian owned. Each one of these businesses are collecting over $1 million a year. And what are they doing? They're saying that they're moving people around that have some type of medical emergency, but the neighbors say these vans never leave. And as you can look right there, there's snow built up around all of those vans. Those vans haven't moved for a long time. But in the state of Minnesota, they're literally paying companies just like this millions of dollars a year. Like I said, they're called non-emergency medical transportation companies, and there's over 90% of them in Minnesota that are owned by Somalians, collecting millions of taxpayer dollars a year, and the vans just sit like that all year long. This is going on in Minnesota, massive fraud. Let me know your thoughts on this one.
Y'all constantly see it each and every day. Y'all see why. And I truly feel like, again, and I've been saying this truly all week and all last week, is the fact that they're using Renee Good, I'm pretty sure that's her name, Renee Good, as that, that distraction. As, they're trying to hype that up as much as possible to get that light off of them that Nick Shirley put on them. I truly feel that way. Truly feel that way. You have it here, a Somali man named Muhammad Omar. I don't really know how to say his last name. In Minnesota, submitted 40,000 fraudulent healthcare claims, allowing him to steal $3.2 million from American taxpayers. A worker pulled the power cord from the computer as investigators tried to search it. Check it out right here.
Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison has charged a man with defrauding Minnesota state programs to the tune of $3.2 million. 57-year-old Mohammed Abdi Rashid Omar Zeed faces 8 counts of theft by false representation in Hennepin County Court. According to the criminal complaint, Omar Zeed's company, Guardian Home Health Services, submitted over 40,000 fraudulent claims for personal care assistance or PCA services over a 4-year span. It's not just alleged PCA fraud. The AG's Medicaid Fraud Control Unit also found evidence of Guardian defrauding several other programs that the state has now identified as high risk for fraud. The criminal complaint says the workers have admitted submitting fake timesheets. Another worker reported her name being used on a timesheet for work she never performed. And when the office was being searched, another office worker pulled the power cord from his computer to prevent investigators from seeing the screen. The Minnesota Department of Human Services finally shut down Guardian's license in July 2025. Omar Zeed is scheduled to be in court next month. I'm Lou.
One thing about it is that they have a lot. It says his company also submitted fake timesheets. A lot of this you know, is very, very crazy, you know, of what they're doing, because when you have these, you know, these journalists that's going out and they're, you know, reviewing a lot of these things, you start to notice that it becomes a pattern. You start to notice that a lot of this and a lot of these situations, you know, it all starts to come, and it all starts to come in a way of understand. You know, you start to understand, you start to see that a lot of them have a lot in common on how they move and what they're doing. I truly do not see, I don't feel whatsoever that, you know, anything is, I truly feel like they need to do more than what they're doing right now. And I know that you have to take your time, you have to gather evidence, you have to do this, you have to do that. But I truly feel as if there's so many things that's out, they need to push hard onto this, because I feel like it only will get worse. Just judging by, you know, the protesters that you have, that's completely destructive, you know, and then you have all this fraud that's going on, you know, and it's truly can get worse, you know, and not only, you know, just in Minnesota, but you're having a lot of these problems in Ohio as well, and other places. One thing about it, you know, that is great, you know, that is truly great, is that you have Tom Emmer confirming his new bill that could allow deportation of legal Somalis, including Ilhan Omar. Check it out.
This law would just provide that is a basis to denaturalize, take away your citizenship, and ship you back. And part of this is because I've got a representative in Minnesota, Ilhan Omar, who likes to go on national programs and play the victim, yet the same representative goes to the University of Minnesota campus and in reality encourages violence against Jewish students. And she says, hey, we're citizens, there's nothing you can do about it. Well, guess what? There is something that we should be able to do about it. You should not be allowed to come to this country, take advantage of the generosity of Americans and the American government, and get away with it. If you commit fraud, you should be denaturalized and shipped back.
And there y'all have it. So one thing about it, you know, I always try to end off on a good note, with some good news, and I truly feel as if this is some great news, just judging by the fact that I feel like a lot of, and you know, you have people that's in the comment, I'm just saying this, I'm done waiting for nothing, it's all talk and no action, which I completely feel, you know, what that individual is saying. And I truly feel what y'all are saying in the comments that I've been getting is that a lot of, you know, it's one thing, you know, about talking about it and get people hype about it, but we would love to see a lot of action, a lot of things that's actually done. And I truly feel like it is, you know, it definitely is. You know, I showed y'all this week that they're having a lot of deportation when it comes to Minnesota. You know, a lot of people that's getting on buses and getting on planes. You know, that's getting up out of here. So truly amazing. You know, it does take time. I feel like President Trump has done an amazing, and Trump administration has done an amazing job. You know, definitely amazing job, and definitely want to see more to come. So you already know, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Stay tuned for the next video. Catch y'all next one.